Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton says new documents show that not only did Dr. Fauci know about gain-of-function research regarding COVID-19, but Fauci also seems to favor gain-of-function research continuing. Here's One America's John Hines.
Judicial Watch has received 552 pages of records, including the initial grant application and annual reports to the National Institutes of Health, describing its work with the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China to create mutant viruses to, quote, better predict the capacity of our CoV coronaviruses to infect people. And Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, is this fairly conclusive proof then that Dr. Anthony Fauci lied when he said to Senator Rand Paul and others in sworn congressional testimony that there was no gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab funded by his agency?
Well, even before these documents came out, there was plenty of information showing that Fauci and Elise was being misleading to Congress in denying gain-of-function research. But this is really proof positive and should lay to rest any questions or deniability that the agency has about whether it actually funded the research. And this is a quote from the document. I think it was from 2013 or so. We will do this by sequencing the spike or other receptor binding fusion protein genes from all of our bat coronaviruses, creating mutants to identify how significantly each would need to evolve to use the receptors or other potential other coronavirus receptors, and specifically the ACE2 receptor, which is the big deal in terms of getting this disease to infect humans. And of course, they're directing it at humanized mice. Now, John, I've never thought to call the gain-of-function viruses mutants, but isn't that the perfect word? And sure enough, it's the word that the EcoHealth Alliance uses to successfully get funding to engage in research not only in Wuhan, but in other sites in China.
Why do you suppose then that Mr. Fauci would have denied that there was ever gain-of-function research going on if he probably knew these emails existed, that they might become public? And he obviously doubled down on that for quite some time. What do you suppose his motive was if he perhaps knew that eventually people would find out and there was actually gain-of-function research going on that they had paid for?
Well, based on his recent comments, he seems to be pretending that depends what you mean by gain of function. And he defines it so that it has virtually no application in these circumstances. And I don't think anyone's persuaded by it. This is what everyone understood gain of function to mean: taking a coronavirus and making it, in this case, more easily able and figuring out ways to make it more easily able to infect human beings. And specifically, we're targeting the mutant viruses to infect humanized mice. And I tell you, this helps explain why Fauci and his acolytes have really pushed hard against this lab leak theory, because if the coronavirus, COVID-19, did leak from a lab, there are two issues here. Was it a leak of a natural virus that had been cataloged, right? Or was it an engineered virus?
Should people be concerned either because there's gain-of-function research going on, which is making certain viruses more powerful, I guess, and therefore perhaps dangerous, or because the government appears to be lying to people about what they're doing?
Well, there's a combination. Here you have the government, in the case Dr. Fauci, just pretending it's not gain-of-function research when indeed it is. And I don't even think the Biden administration buys that anymore. They're just very nervous about the whole issue. But the gain-of-function research continues here in the United States. We've uncovered that. And even if it's not supposed to be continuing, it's still happening.
Do we know that gain-of-function research is going on at other locations, perhaps in China?
No, we should presume that's the case. And Fauci thinks it's a fine process. I mean, we're presuming everyone, no one should think that just because I'm objecting to it, that's the way the science, a lot of scientists agree with me on that. No. I mean, Fauci and others want this type of research to continue.
Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch, talking about new documents they have received with regard to gain-of-function research. being paid for by the National Institute of Health. Thank you for joining us on One America News, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.